This is the iPhone 6s Plus. Since this is an SEO for the iPhones, it looks a lot like the 6 Plus. But don't let that fool you, because inside, the iPhone 6s Plus is a whole new beast. A more powerful processor, better cameras, faster Touch ID, and most importantly, a revolutionary new touchscreen technology Apple is calling 3D Touch are just some of what's new with the iPhone 6s Plus. Let's talk about them in our review. The 6s Plus is the bigger of the two iPhones. And while it isn't great for one-handed use, it has the advantage of a bigger screen and more importantly, a bigger battery. From the outside, you could easily mistake the 6s Plus for the 6 Plus, unless you spot the S on the rear plate. It's slightly thicker and heavier than the 6 Plus, but otherwise, the design is pretty much identical. Apple has made big changes to the build quality though. Remember the bend gate issue from last year? To ensure people don't try breaking their iPhones in half, Apple's reinforced the frame using Series 7000 aluminum alloy. The new material hasn't done anything to improve the grip of the iPhone 6s Plus though. It's super slippery and you have to put a case on it, no questions asked. We've reviewed a ton of Android flagships this year, and most of them now feature 2K displays. The battery compromises don't have us convinced it's worth the upgrade though, which is why we're happy with the full HD resolution on the 6s Plus. Its 401 ppi pixel density is plenty sharp, and with its natural colors, good viewing angles and flawless sunlight legibility, it's a winner on most counts. There is one special aspect of the display we haven't talked about yet though. Underneath that screen is a network of 96 sensors that are responsible for the iPhone 6s Plus's most interesting feature, 3D Touch. But what is 3D Touch, you ask? Think of it as a right click for your smartphone. For instance, press down on an icon on the home screen and you'll see a little contextual menu pop up. This is something Apple is calling quick actions. These actions differ based on the app. In the camera app, you'll see options to take a selfie or photo and record a video, while in Facebook, you'll be able to upload a photo or video or post a status. Then there's Peek and Pop. These 3D Touch actions work inside compatible apps. In the Mail app, for example, you can press on an email to view a floating preview that disappears once you take your finger off the screen. That's a peek. Press harder on the email though, and it opens in its own window. That's a pop. Peek and Pop work in various ways in apps, and they're really useful when you want to preview links or photos without leaving the app you're in. 3D Touch is going to be big for Apple, but for now, it's still in its nascent stages and is mostly just a cool feature. But 3D Touch isn't the only selling point for the iPhone 6s Plus. The world's favorite camera smartphone has received a much-needed upgrade in the photography department. The 8-megapixel rear camera is now a 12-megapixel unit, while the 1.2-megapixel front camera now stands at 5 megapixels. Apart from the new resolution, Apple has also added a feature it's calling Live Photos. When enabled, the camera captures a few seconds of footage before and after you shoot. So you end up with a mini 3-second video. It's not new, we've seen HTC do this with Zoe earlier, and frankly, we don't see what all the fuss is about. When it comes to image quality for stills though, the iPhone 6s Plus pulls all the stops. Colors look natural, details are crisp, and bokeh results are just stunning. Fuzzy selfies are a thing of the past with the front camera, which now outputs sharper, less noisy results. There's also a retina flash, which lights up the display to act as a stand-in flash for your low-light selfies. The iPhone 6s Plus runs iOS 9 out of the box. iOS 9 isn't a massive upgrade over iOS 8, but it does feature some important improvements, such as the ability to make Hey Siri always on, a new back button, a low power mode, smarter spotlight search, and updates to native apps like Mail and Notes. The iPhone 6s Plus also gets a big bump in performance thanks to the new 64-bit A9 chip, which is complemented by double the RAM at 2 GB. Compared to the iPhone 6 Plus, the 6s Plus just feels so much faster. We noticed a visible improvement in speed, whether it was launching apps, swiping through screens, or even pulling down the drop down notification pane. Gaming is a real pleasure on the 6S Plus too, with heavier titles like Dead Trigger 2 displaying no visible frame drops or lags. Apple's Touch ID fingerprint sensor has also been upgraded and is now faster, much faster. In fact, we think it might be too fast because just brushing our finger across the sensor unlocks the phone, making lock screen shortcuts impossible to access. The 6S Plus's battery is actually smaller than that on the 6 Plus, owing to the new Taptic engine Apple has included for 3D Touch. But thanks to iOS 9 optimizations, the battery life is pretty much the same. The phone was able to last us until bedtime with moderate use, but intensive use just about managed to get us through the better part of a working day. The low power mode comes in handy for these situations. Now that we've taken you through what the iPhone 6s Plus offers, let's get to the most important question. Should you get one? If you can afford it, yes, without a doubt. For most users though, price remains an important consideration. And this time around, the iPhones have been priced on the expensive side of premium. The official prices of the iPhone 6s Plus start at Rs 72,000 and go all the way up to Rs 92,000 for the 128GB version. Those prices are a bit ridiculous, even for an iPhone. The good news though is that the new iPhones have received a price cut in India, with discounts of Rs 10,000 and more on most variants. While that puts the iPhone 6s Plus back into the mainstream competition, users might still be swayed by Android alternatives like the Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge, Note 5 and Nexus 6P. Make no mistake, the iPhone 6s Plus is one of the best flagships in the market, but if you can't afford it, last year's iPhone 6 Plus is still an excellent option.